तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। भागवत गीता एज इट इज की जय। Okay, so the topic we can see on the screen is power of sound. Shabda Brahma, transcendental sound vibration. So I've been thinking about this topic for some time, and I thought it will be an appropriate topic to share because we know, we know, I guess, that the Advent day of Bhagavad Gita is coming soon, which is this Wednesday, December 11th. It is also Mokshada Ekadasi. So on this day, Lord Krishna, he spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Because of that reason, I thought this will be a good topic to discuss. So we expose ourselves to so many different kinds of sounds every day. And you see, like, there are so many music festivals happen, especially here in USA. And so many people go there. Thank you. And they spend so much money to go into these events. So we went to one event. It was a few days festival, and I noticed the music is going all night, and it goes till like 6 a.m. the next day. So people are so absorbed in hearing. But what are they hearing? That's the subject to be considered. Whatever we are hearing, we are exposing ourselves to that energy, and it's going to influence us in that particular way. So this experience, this was like what do you call it? Psychedelic music. It was that kind of festival we went to, and I was asking another devotee I went with. This was my first time going to this festival, and I was asking him, like, what time these guys go to sleep? And he said they don't sleep. They're just going all night. And so we woke up around like 3:30, and the music is still going on. So I asked him, man, you are right, they are up all night. And they stopped like up to 6 a.m. There were people there listening to music and dancing. So we can see people want to be absorbed in something. But it depends what they are attracted to, what they are drawn to, that's what they would be absorbed in. So these people were absorbed in this music, And we can also think for ourselves like what we are absorbed in. But that's what happens when we absorb ourselves, expose ourselves to material sounds or material knowledge. Then it binds us. It doesn't free us. It binds us. Even music, you see, you listen. After some time, you don't want to listen to it because it becomes boring after some time. But the spiritual sound, transcendental sound vibration, it's ever fresh. And that's why people who like do meditation, chant mantras, we see priests when they are doing ceremonies, they will chant mantras. That's why they are able to do it, because they are getting a higher taste. So we cannot just stop doing things, but we have to replace it with a better taste. And so our taste for absorbing in these materialistic sounds, it can be replaced by hearing spiritual sounds, especially hearing the Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So many literatures are there, Mahabharata, Ramayana. So when we invest our time and energy in studying texts like this, what it does, it frees us from material existence. It doesn't bind us. But if we expose ourselves to material sounds, it binds us. So let's read this. Oh, what did I do? Anyways. So Vedic evidence is called Shabda Brahma. There are many things which are beyond the perception of our imperfect senses. Yet, the authoritative evidence of sound vibration is perfect. The Vedas are known as Shabda Brahma because evidence taken from the Vedas constitutes the ultimate understanding. This is because Shabda Brahma or the Vedas represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, the real essence of Shabda Brahma is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. By vibrating this transcendental sound, the meaning of everything, both material and spiritual, is revealed. This Hare Krishna is non-different from the personality of Godhead. The meaning of everything is received through the air, through sound vibration. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We can see the reference, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 40. So Bhagavad Gita was spoken between two armies ready to fight a great battle. That's why it's called Mahabharata. And this is an essential chapter, most educational chapter we can say in Mahabharata. There's in the middle there is Krishna and Arjuna on the chariot that's being pulled by white horses. There is so many details just about this chariot and the horses, how they were given to Arjuna to fight this battle and win this battle. But this is the space where this conversation, Bhagavad Gita, happened. It's a very action-packed scene here, because people are ready to fight. And that's where Krishna is giving the topmost transcendental knowledge to Arjuna, how to win the battle of his life. Does anyone feel like, sometimes you feel like life is becoming a battle? Okay, I see some hands. Oh, yes. Looks like rest of the people, they are having no challenges in life, pretty smooth. Okay, that's good. We want people to have a better life, happy life. But in general, life in material world, there are so many challenges, so many difficulties, and we have to face them. When we don't have the strength to face them, then what happens? We get depressed, we get stressed, we get in anxiety, and we lose sense of what to do, what not to do. But that's why Krishna, he comes again and again, and he gives this transcendental wisdom. He was telling Arjuna that I did speak this Bhagavad Gita before to sun god. And Arjuna was asking him, how is it? We are like same age. How did you speak to sun god? I know you. So Krishna told him that, look, we have taken many births. I remember all of them, but you forget them. So that's the difference between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is representing living beings like us. He is also very close associate of Krishna, but he is representing our case in this situation. He is not in illusion. He is put in illusion so Krishna can speak Bhagavad Gita for everyone's benefit. We should remember this point. So Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to free everyone from ignorance, from material existence, because Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavi Hastini Suni Cheva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. A person who is self-realized, he don't see difference between different living beings, even between different species. He gives them equal respect because he sees the spiritual essence in them. But a person who is not in spiritual consciousness, whose consciousness is materially absorbed, that person will make distinction. He will think, this girl, she's my family, that boy, I hate him, I don't like his style. So many ways we will see differences, and it leads to many problems in life. We can see how in society all over the world there is so many problems going on. There is wars happening, there is riots happening, there is so many things going on, and people are in great anxiety, they are in great stress. So how to deal with these kind of situations? That's why we need transcendental wisdom. Einstein, he said, one cannot solve a problem being on the same level. You have to go one level higher to find a solution. So that's why to deal with any challenges in our life, we have to go one level higher. We have to take shelter of spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge. That's why Krishna, he spoke Bhagavad Gita again to Arjuna. Because what happens in course of time, people forget things. And forgetfulness, it's a symptom of ignorance. And that's why Krishna has to come again to remind people, to reestablish what's the actual standard, how human beings who have advanced consciousness, how they should be living their life. So Krishna comes and does that, and that's what's happening here. Why I'm talking about this? Like I said before, Gita Jayanti, the day Bhagavad Gita was spoken, it will be, actual date is December 11, Wednesday. And here at our temple, we will be celebrating on December 15th, the Sunday. I heard Savas Prabhu made the announcement. There will be a lot of ceremonies happening, and there will be distribution of Bhagavad Gita. People can get the book, give it to others, and participate in that way. There will be also recitation of Bhagavad Gita, the full text of Bhagavad Gita, all the 700 shlokas. So why is this Gita so important? This is one of the verses which gives, which glorifies Bhagavad Gita. It is given by Vyasadeva in Gita Mahatmya. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimane Shastra Vistraye Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmadvanishrita. One should always very nicely sing with devotion this Gita, the divine song which has emanated from the holy lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord Himself, Lord Shri Krishna. What then is the benefit of studying many other scriptures? So there is so many different books out in the market. You can get them, you can read them, you can study them, you can learn from them. But why is Bhagavad Gita special? Because it's spoken by Krishna. And why is this Krishna, his word is known different from him. Krishna is pure, and the words that are coming from him, they are also pure. So what will happen when we connect with them? It will help us become pure. It will help us become free from materialistic consciousness, and it will help us revive our original spiritual consciousness. It will help us become who we are, who we actually want to become. So that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. We can see, even if we consider logically, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita little over 5,000 years ago. But even till date, so many people, they are interested in studying Bhagavad Gita. If it's not so interesting, why would people still be studying Bhagavad Gita? The reason I say is, here I'll share a couple of experiences we had recently. So we went to, there was an event that happened in San Diego Convention Center, and it was organized by AAR and SBL. Let's see if I can remember the full name. American Academy of Religion, and SBL, Society of Biblical Literature. So they organize this event every year, and professors from different universities, PhD scholars, so many people who are interested in studying about theology, about philosophy, about different topics like this, they come there. So we were also there presenting Srila Prabhupada's books. You can see the banner, the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. And these are some devotees in the background in the picture who were speaking there at the event also. But this lady, she's a nun. She was visiting from Australia. And she was so happy to see Bhagavad Gita. She's a Buddhist nun, but still she knows what Bhagavad Gita is. And she was super interested. And she was like, yes, I will take it to Australia. This person, he was working there. So the second day when I was entering the convention center, he was at the service desk there. His name is David Wilson. And as soon as he saw me, I was like dressed like this. As soon as he saw me, he said, you know what? I was watching a YouTube video. And this guy, he's not even a Hare Krishna. And he said, Hare Krishna is the best lifestyle. And so he was saying, after hearing from him, he started looking for a Bhagavad Gita. But I'm not sure where he was looking. He said the place he was looking online, the price was too high, and he decided not to get it. But then he sees me. I was like, don't worry about price. You come to us and we'll take care of you. So he came and he took a bunch of books and he was so happy. So there are many people out there, they are looking for this knowledge because that's most natural for us. In start of Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Athato Brahma Jigyasha. Means human life begins when one starts to inquire about self-realization. Like we are soul. So soul is not supposed to be just engaged in working in the IT industry, making money, and then don't know where to go and spend it. So I've seen I have some friends, they have no time even to eat. They are so busy with their work. So that is not human life. Of course, these days employers are such, they want like every drop of our blood and every moment of our life to help them increase their business. But that is not human life. Human life is for self-preservation, for self-realization. So we should not waste such a special opportunity, such a valuable opportunity, just engaging in taking care of the basic needs, getting food on the table, have some money to buy some things we may like to buy, or visit some places we may want to visit. But it's actually a very special facility given to us, and it is meant for becoming self-realized. How will it happen? We can see example of Srila Prabhupada. He's, the astrologers, they calculate the future. So the future predictions made about his life by the astrologer was that he would become one of the richest persons. And he had started a pharmaceutical business, and he shared with his students on some occasions that few times it happened that he would make it, he would become the richest person, but then again something would happen and something would change the scene. So then he had few dreams. His guru was telling him that you have to translate these books to English so the whole world can have access to this knowledge, to this wisdom. Before that it was only available in Sanskrit, which not many people know these days. So we can see Srila Prabhupada here. This is a picture from his quarters here at our temple in Los Angeles, where he translated many of his books. And he spent so many sleepless nights translating these books. That's how we have them available for us now. And it's pretty easily accessible these days, because he put a lot of hard work in making it available for everyone. So what can we do now? We have this opportunity. So this month we also celebrate Christmas, Srila Prabhupada's Christmas book marathon. Every day devotees at ISKCON centers, they are going out, meeting people all over the world, and they are going and distributing this book, Bhagavad Gita, and many other books translated by Srila Prabhupada. So it is very special. Devotees are extending themselves, showing compassion, care for others, and that's how we can free ourselves. Because naturally, you see, if you talk to someone, they would tell you about some person they like. But what's the benefit of it? But if you talk about Krishna to others, if you talk about Srila Prabhupada to others, you make spiritual progress. But if we're just talking about anything else, material, then it's not going to give us much benefit. And sometime later, the same person may even get upset with us, even become an enemy. It happens all the time. Srila Prabhupada, he was giving example of like how people get married, and then everything is going great at start, and then after some time they get to know each other, they start to see faults in each other, and sometimes it even leads to fights, and then what? Divorce. So it happens, we all have seen that. But that happens when there is no spiritual understanding in the relationship. And that's why we need this knowledge to first for ourselves to understand that I am a spiritual being and I am supposed to be engaged in spiritual activities. My nature is to serve others. So our original nature is to serve. When we are not serving Krishna, when we are not serving spiritual personalities, saintly people, then who will serve? We will serve everyone else. Someone who is absorbed in material activities, someone who is in ignorance of themselves, and what will be the benefit of it? It will just complicate more and more in the cycle of life, birth, death, and repeat, samsara. So we want to get out of this samsara because that's not where we are meant to be, and that's why Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita, so we can learn this and we can get out of this cycle, samsara chakra. No one likes to be spinned around again and again. There is one verse in Bhagavad Gita, it says, Mudha Janmani Janmanishware, that life after life, material energy is making us a fool. Is there anyone here who like to be cheated? Is there anyone who experienced like someone cheated on you or someone gave you like fake currency? Yes. Did you like it? So no one likes to be cheated. No one likes to be, like someone give you fake currency and then they say this is real. So there are two energies that are operating in this creation. There's one is Yogamaya and the second one is Mahamaya. Yogamaya is the internal energy of Krishna which organizes all the spiritual activities. Mahamaya is Durga. Many people worship Durga. So Durga is a devotee of Krishna and her service is to keep people in illusion. That's her service. Especially people who are not sincere, who are not honest. To those kind of people, she keeps in illusion. But someone, they're trying to become a devotee, they're trying to engage in spiritual practices, they are trying to become self-realized, she also helps them. So the best way to worship Durga is to ask her for help to become self-realized, to become Krishna conscious, to remember Krishna and become a devotee of Krishna. And serve great saints, devotees of Krishna who have done so much service already. And when we engage in the service in that way, what will happen? We will become satisfied. We can see example of Srila Prabhupada. His astrological calculations were that he would be a very rich person. But he couldn't do that materially. But then what happened? Spiritually, he became so wealthy. You see so many temples and so many centers all over the world, so many students he was teaching, guiding. So he achieved so much. He translated more than 70 books, and these books are translated in so many languages these days. So they are available, and what can we do? How can we assist him now? Our service to him now is to study these books first, educate ourselves, and then if we feel inspired by studying them, we can share with others. That's what we have been doing here. I remember I got Bhagavad Gita in Delhi years ago. And why did I get it? Because I had heard so much about it that people all over the world are studying this book. And I was like, what is in this book? Why are people so interested in this book? I met people. There is a friend of my grandfather, and he was in Delhi police. And people in India, like there are many people, they take bribes. You can give a bribe and you can get away with whatever you have done. So this person, he used to do that, and he would drink alcohol, he would eat meat, so many things. He would do anything you can say that's bad. And this time when he came to meet my grandfather, I saw his face was glowing. And I was like, wow, man, like what did this person do? It's like glowing like anything, looks so beautiful. And so I asked him, like, what happened to you? You look so different, you look so good. And he said, well, I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped taking meat, I stopped taking bribes, and I was like, how did that happen? He said, well, that's another story. He said his daughter, she found a Bhagavad Gita somewhere. Someone gave her a Bhagavad Gita and she started reading it. And she completely changed her lifestyle. So he was like, man, what's happening to my daughter? Why is she's changed so much? What's going on with her? And so he asked her, like, why are you doing all this? And she gave him the Bhagavad Gita. And then that's what happened to him. He completely transformed. So Bhagavad Gita has power because it is spoken by someone who is very pure, Krishna. Arjuna confirmed this in chapter 10. He said, Param Brahma, Param Dham, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. Vibhu means the Lord, the master of everyone. So Arjuna, he said that you are supremely pure. And whoever comes in contact with you, they will become pure. We can see when Srila Prabhupada came to America, coming back to the topic of sound, he was at Tompkins Square Park and he was just sitting there by himself and he started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Our instrument players are getting excited. Hold on for a sec. So, Srila Prabhupada, he started chanting, and then what happened? So many people started to come. They started chanting and dancing with him. And because that happened, then now we are here. So one time, Srila Prabhupada, he was in India speaking at a program, and one person asked him, Swamiji, can you show us some magic? People like to see magic. How did Srila Prabhupada respond? He said, you want to see magic? Here is the magic. He said, you see, now you are here. Earlier you were not coming here. But today you are here. You are listening to this. That's the magic. So we are used to hearing so many other things, but somehow or other we make time to come and hear about Krishna. What happens? Krishna is there in our heart as Paramatma. And what he does? He cleanses the heart. We are chanting, Krishna is working on our heart. He is cleaning our heart. So Krishna is not just sitting idle and watching us. Okay, let's see how long this guy gonna chant Hare Krishna now. He's not my guru explains like this, he's not a sadist God. He's very personal. When we do something for him, he will do so much more for us. And that's what Krishna is showing here in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So we'll go to the battlefield here. Since people like action, let's go to the action scene. Krishna, he told that he will not take any weapon. He will not fight in the battle. So we will share this story and then we'll end with that. What happened is before the start of battle, this is given in Mahabharata. If you want to find out more, you should read Mahabharata. Before the battle, Duryodhana, he went to Krishna to ask for help. You see, this will help us understand the difference of a person who is thinking materially all the time and difference of a person who has spiritual consciousness. The mentality, how they think. Duryodhana, he went to ask for help. Then Yudhishthir, elder brother of Arjuna, he told him that you should go and ask Krishna for help also. So Arjuna also went. Now, Krishna, he saw Arjuna first. So he gave first choice to Arjuna. He said, we have two options. One side is my whole army and another side will be me. But I am not gonna fight. I will just go with the person, whoever wants to take me. I will just be with you guys. But I will not fight. I will just be present like a witness. I will just see what's going on in the scene. And my army, they will fight. So you can either take my army or you can either take me. Then Arjuna, since he got the first choice, what did he choose? Of course, he chose Krishna. And Duryodhana, in his heart, he was like really praying and thinking, man, I hope this guy doesn't ask for his army. So when Arjuna chose Krishna, Duryodhana was very happy. Because he's thinking when he get army of Krishna, he can win the battle, right? And so after, when Duryodhana left, Krishna asked Arjuna, Arjuna, why did you choose me? I already said I'm not going to fight. Why did you choose me? And Arjuna was like, I don't care. I win or lose. For me, what matters is that you are there with me. That's what matters to me. I don't know what's and that's why I choose you. So if we go back to Bhagavad Gita, why did Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? He said, because you are my friend and you are my devotee. That's why I am revealing this secret to you. So one may say it's not secret, everyone knows about Bhagavad Gita. What is secret is its understanding, its mystery. It is only revealed to a person who becomes a devotee. If we are thinking like Duryodhana, if we are envious of Krishna, if we think Krishna is an ordinary person, or maybe he has some special powers, then we will not understand Bhagavad Gita. We will not be able to realize the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we have to become a devotee. We have to practice bhakti to understand Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti yoga. One main part of practice of bhakti yoga, all of us, I see most of us are regulars here, so we know. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, Lord Chaitanya, he said chanting is for everyone. Everyone should chant Hare Krishna. But he also asked some of his close associates, his disciples, to write books so people can learn from them and benefit themselves. So chanting Hare Krishna is for everyone. That's just a start. Of course, the better we get with our chanting, the more self-realized we will become. Just chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient in itself for self-realization. But more important is to understand all these deeper aspects of these practices. Because if we don't understand things, we can even easily stop chanting. That's why we should know why we are doing what we are doing. We should know its benefits. What are the benefits we can achieve by doing these, following these practices? And when we know them, then we'll naturally be very inspired to do it. And when we do it with the right consciousness, right mentality, right intention, then we will get deeper realizations, and that's what will bring us satisfaction, happiness, and that's what will help us have the strength to carry on doing these activities. Because like I said, there is so many problems, difficulties, challenges that are out there in the world. Someone has a job today, tomorrow they may not have that job. Someone has good health today, tomorrow they may get sick, they may catch some very serious disease. So many things. But right now, while we are in good health, we should take advantage of this opportunity, study Bhagavad Gita, all other Vedic literatures, and help ourselves become advanced in practice of Bhakti Yoga, in Krishna consciousness. We should become self-realized within this life. I know one person who says the only reason they want to practice this Bhakti yoga is that they do not want to come back again in this world, because already it's so difficult. So when they come back, how much more difficult it will be. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are predictions made what is coming in future. We can already see the governments, the purpose. You see, Bhagavad Gita, originally it was spoken to great kings, so they can lead the society. They can help everyone become self-realized and live a happy life. But these days, which government leader is doing that? I don't know anyone who is doing that. Maybe Prime Minister of India, Modi, he is encouraging these activities, but not many. I'm sure even he is limited in many ways because of the political scene. So earlier it was given to like sun god, and then from sun god it came to Ikshvaku, like that it came to the earthly planet, to human beings. So this is meant for great leaders, but great leaders, they are not studying these books these days. They are studying so many other books, and that's why there is so many difficulties in society. People are suffering like anything. So the solution is to help people become free from ignorance, help people become self-realized, and that's why we all have this opportunity, especially in this month. We can get some Bhagavad Gitas, we can distribute to others. It's not difficult, to be honest. Like when I started doing, I was very shy, and I would like feel so nervous to ask people for a donation. But you see, when people are giving something in return for spiritual knowledge, it gives them good karma, spiritual credit, because they're gonna spend that money in so many other ways where they will get more complicated. And if they actually study the book, it will help them become wise. It will help them learn how to deal with difficulties, challenges in life, and live a better life. And also be kind to others. Right now, there are so many people, because we are in material consciousness, we get envious, we get angry so easily. So it will help us deal with all these kind of issues. At last, I would like to say we can take inspiration from Srila Prabhupada. Like he already had a business. He could have just developed his business, made a lot of money, and lived happily with his family. And even when he started this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, even that he could have taken profits from this for himself or for his family. But because he was so absorbed in serving Krishna, he did it for benefit of others, paropkar. So a human being should be thinking of welfare of others. We should not be selfish, just thinking about ourselves all the time. That's a very bad mentality. We should be thinking of benefit of others. When we help others, even Buddha said this, that it will help us become detached, and it will help us experience inner happiness. So I will conclude with that. We have a couple of minutes. Any one of you have any questions, or maybe you like to share some realization, some experience? So we can do that. Otherwise we will end here. Anyone? Okay. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.